Hi, everybody. The world might end soon, but we are not going down without some fun. I don't know. We are going to have a lot of fun today on the show. Welcome to Blathering Live, episode 180 of an ongoing conversation with myself that now includes you, and producer Steve, and regular callers, and friends all around the world. One of my friends will be on the show today, about 5:30, bottom of the hour. Kate Huseby will be here, and they are bringing some footage. That's right. New movie on the way that I am proud to be a part of and in. Really one of my most favorite things to do in a while. It's called Quarter Life Crisis. And Kate Huseby will be here to talk about their movie, Quarter Life Crisis. That is, I'll let them explain what it is, but it's part narrative, part documentary. So some parts might be very real. Some parts may be hyper-realized. It's up to you to figure it out. And we'll talk about our own quarter-life crises. Did you have a quarter-life crisis? I did. When I was 25, I freaked the hell out. Listened to John Mayer albums. Going to run through the halls of my high school. And I thought it was all done. I thought I had not accomplished anything at 25 because the Beatles had accomplished everything at 25, and most Major League Baseball players were either stars or failures by 25, and I felt that I, too, was a failure at 25. I'd give anything to go back to being 35. I'd give anything to go back to being 35. So if you experience quarter life crisis, a very real thing, I'm not making fun of it at all. It was real. You move on in life and you look back and go, maybe it wasn't as impactful as it should have been, or as it was. Maybe it wasn't. Laserbolt says, I don't remember any crisis. It's all a blur. Laserbolt's been around long enough to have two quarter life crises. So we'll get into that tonight. Cade will be here. And we'll have a lot of fun. Cinder's on a second quarter life crisis. That's good. So look for that above me. I'm excited to share the stuff with you. They have a great trailer for this movie, Quarter Life Crisis, and they have a good little scene we're going to share today. A scene with me. Kingsport Cal is here. Says, I don't think I've had crisis yet. Cal, you are the crisis, all right? You are the crisis. You were in Force Center's chat today, Cal. You were on the edge. You were on the edge. You made a joke or two that I was like, I don't know. This is on the edge. Kingsport Cal's Kingsporting again. But I'm happy you're here, buddy. We missed you. Tully says, my life is an ongoing crisis there. We've got the world to monitor as well. We also got my bad internet to monitor as well. We are in a bad Burbank internet time period. So apologize if anything gets a little crunchy here on the stream tonight. We'll be here for about an hour plus. You know the drill. And it's also, here's the thing. I always say it's an hour plus, and then the show turns into a 2-hour escapade. Today was the first 95-degree day in Burbank, and it is, you can feel, in fact, so much so that here's what I got. I got my little novelty fan. I can just spray myself down. Yeah, there we go. And I got a big jug. No branded mug today. I got the big Game of Thrones one. I had lunch today with a good friend of mine, Daniel from New Zealand, who is just one of the sweetest people in the world, and he treated me to a nice lunch. That's also, I think, contributing to my sweats. I've got the Mexican food sweats right now. We went to Don Cuco's, downtown Burbank. And I'm glistening, Cinder. It is I'm just sweating out the enchiladas. Oh, so good though. And Daniel and I talked about me moving to New Zealand. Just putting it out there. Yeah, he's suggesting some paths to there. Maybe I can become a tour guide at Hobbiton, at the Shire there. Could work. So there you go. Let's bring in producer Steve as we look to the world. Producer Steve, the world might end here in the next 30 minutes.
Ken, I've got my eyes on the world. What is the time difference for New Zealand? Because I'd have to talk to my wife if I can get up at certain times to still do the show at that point. That might be tough.
It might work better for you.
Okay.
16 hours? I don't know.
That's a lot of math.
I don't know. Zach Anderson's here. Decided to pierce my ears and nose for quarter life crisis. That's good. Cameron Search says, wait, why 30 minutes? I don't know, because we got the Tangerine Palpatine put out on Truth Social. Everyone in Tehran evacuate. A lot of words, but Steve, there was no actual reasons why. We could take a guess why, but it's not looking good over there right now.
It's not looking good over there. The latest, Ken, there has been a few updates since then. The latest is that Trump will actually be departing the G7 early and returning to the United States because of, quote, because of what's going on in the Middle East. That's courtesy of CNN. So that's not good. Usually when the world leaders leave big important meetings like that to go home early, it's not just because he wants to go home and play on the Switch too, I imagine. So
there's a chance
I'm thinking,
with him. There's a chance.
Trump playing, I would pay money to see Trump trying to operate a Switch too, Ken. That would actually be pretty funny. But no, we talked also about that too. We're also keeping our finger on the pulse on the pizza delivery around the Pentagon. And stuff going down around here when before stuff happens, people know, and so the stories get out.
Well, I want to get into that now here because I try to pride myself, and as you have all learned, I have a lot of pride, and I am a sinner. I pride myself on trying to be, up on a lot of the internet trends, words. I have no shame. I will go if there's a word that I see out there, or a phrase, or just mid. It was a low-level example. But if what is mid? What is base? I will go to the Urban Dictionary, Steve. I will try to educate myself on the ways of the Utes. But you explained something to me that I had no idea about. It is the pizza tracker in D.C. Please explain.
Yeah. So the idea here is that this is like part urban myth, part kind of half truth around here in the Northern Virginia DC area. A lot of journalists and media outlets speculate that what they do is they monitor large pizza orders around Arlington, Falls Church, the Pentagon, about and where they're going, whether it's to the Pentagon specifically or other locations that they know like government officials are congregating. Especially during not necessarily times of crisis, because those would definitely be more secret. But the idea is watch where the pizza is going, because especially if it's a lot of pizza in the middle of the night, that usually indicates something. There was talk about this when the raid that Osama bin Laden had, or when that happened, there was all sorts of activity, and people noticed like weird things about there's a ton of pizzas going to both the Pentagon and to DC, so that was weird. So stuff like that. So this is one of those things we keep an eye on around here from a thinking we're cool and actual journalists, but really we're just tracking internet memes.
But I think that's genius. By the way, the reason I'm actually typing up where that mellow mushroom was that I went with Ellis, it was outside Fairfax, Virginia, probably outside the delivery range of the situation.
Delivery is one. Timing is everything around here because, like LA and Northern Virginia, it can take 2 hours to go 2.5 miles depending on what road you're on. But no, we have decent pizza around here. I'll give DC that. We have decent pizza. This area gets credit for its food. That's one of the nice things about how multicultural it is. We have good food around here.
Every time I've gone to D.C., Mark and I doing comedy there, I've never had a meal that I've been disappointed in. So, the only disappointing meal I had, we stopped by a bar after a show. We were walking back to our hotel room. We went to what's like that big circle area, Steve, in D.C.
The mall.
Well, is that the famous like circle where a lot of it's cars now, but Ben Franklin used to like.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was like a bar there, and we're like, okay, it's one of the only places open because that town shuts down early. For a go-getting town, everyone's in bed with their pajamas on at 9 p.m. It was and like a slider, like one slider was like $15. That's the only disappointment I had.
You got a slider for $15? That's a steal. Are you kidding me?
A piece.
Yeah, I know. $15 for a slider. I'll take. Man, come on now. A whole slider for $15.
DuPont Circle. Addie's got it. DuPont
there you go.
Circle.
Yep. Yeah. Oh man, you were hanging out with all the rich kids, Ken.
Yeah. No, it had that feeling. A lot of kids who were going to F up other people's lives because they could. Michael McCarthy says Ben Franklin used to do what? He used to ride a horse.
He was doing a lot more than riding horses around
just
there.
assumed.
But yeah,
That's
yeah.
my horse.
Maybe not DC. It was probably Philly. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Mostly Philly. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. He probably was like, I'm not going up to DC. So why we wait for my buddy Kate to call in at the bottom of the hour to talk about this here. Steve, let's talk a little bit about quarter life crisis. I want to hear yours.
I was going to say my quarter life crisis was calling into this show for the last year, thinking I missed my calling as a true radio producer since I never actually fulfilled my journalism dreams. But so that's definitely on the list. No, but I'm very fortunate. I don't know if I had like a super traumatic quarter life crisis. My 20s were fairly boring comparatively. You know, my wife and I met when we were in college, so I've been with the same person for 15 years. We've been very lucky that our relationship has been very healthy in that regard and everything.
Solid.
So I can't complain too much. But no, I went to school for one thing, ended up doing something completely different, and so I've always just lived with that imposter syndrome of wishing I could do something else. And here I am, Ken, talking into a microphone now. So we're on the way, right?
You like that? That's my like. I sound like Addie's lab assistant.
Whenever Addie says anything about her work or posts something on Blue Sky, I just imagine little beakers running around behind her all the time now because of you.
Things exploding. Poof, poof, poof. All right, so you escaped the quarter life crisis, but have you had that feeling of for the most part, like it was crushing. I'll say with me, like I've always been a depressive person, but depression really kicked in like 7th grade for me. I remember the moment I just kind of felt like I don't feel right and none of this feels good. I was nostalgic already for a time period I currently was in, right? That thing. And but 25 it hit me, and I was cast adrift in LA. Didn't have I had good friends, but like not a large group of friends. Didn't have a lot of friends I could talk to about this stuff or understand this stuff. And I make a joke about John Mayer, but that first John Mayer album, which I would say is good, was all about a quarter life crisis. And so I really connected with that, good or bad. And then I wrote a novel, Steve. I wrote a novel called At 25. That's how bad it was.
Did you like your novel?
No, I hated it.
No, of course you did, because you hate everything at 25.
Yeah. I have the manuscript somewhere. The only thing I'll say is I did let my grandmother, who's since passed away, she read it, and I felt good about it because the story ends in a good spot. And my grandma did pass away not too long after that, so I felt like she at least got to hear my story. So there you go.
You need to, I just had this thought come to me and I didn't want to lose it. Ken, you need to write your book about being 25 when you turn 50. Oh, and that's the whole bit. Is you're 50, now you can write the book about being 25 because you've done it twice.
Yeah.
Something absolutely. Like that. There's a thread there. We'll put that along with it'll be like the novelization to your special.
Okay. That works. Do you
like that?
Works.
Okay.
81984M Brady says, now I'm wondering if I'm currently going through a quarter life crisis. Yeah, okay. Well, let's call in, Brady. We'll figure that out. King's Forecast says, I hated everything at like 13 years old. Yeah. I didn't hate anything. I just you know I don't know. Do you deal with depression, Steve, or there's other things higher on the plate? What's your emotional depth chart like?
My emotional depth. No, I'm not gonna lie. I deal with stuff. I like to outwardly, give off much happier than what we all really are. That's kind of the joy of the internet, right? You don't even know if I'm real, Ken. But no, I think it's more. I'm one of those people. I don't like to stigmatize it like too much, but it is more of like a health thing. You know what I mean? So I don't try to like pry or get under. If I'm more of one of those people. I'm a really good listener. If you want to talk to me about those kind of things, I will listen all day, and I will be more than happy to hear you out. And I'm always try to be that friend for people because I definitely see guy friends especially struggle with that more and more, and don't necessarily go to outlets or do anything for it. So that's definitely something I'm cognizant of. But no, I've dealt with all sorts of that stuff like growing up. I've mentioned before my parents split when I was little, and that was a thing. I remember growing up, getting pulled out of class to go talk to other kids in the middle of school, and being like, "Why is this happening?" And the counselor would be like, "Oh no, your parents want to make sure like you're okay." I'm like, So you pulled me out of class for 30 minutes every day, and everyone gets to ask, why are you getting pulled out of class? Like, what's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. So you just like introduce all these things. So that was stuff to deal with growing up. But no, I am very grateful every day for how I'm able to get through things, and that I had I won't say a moment, but a recognition of there's things we can do about that by talking to people. I encourage everyone to do things like therapy, whatever works for you to talk about your problems, stuff like that. Man, we just got deep, Ken. I just got really.
I want to get deep. Because for me, like I was I guess it was always there. It being chemical, if you want to say, or inherited, or whatever. I don't know. My dad gets very depressive, but I don't feel like dealt with it until like 6th grade. I had great fear of moving forward into 7th grade. Did not want to move forward in my life. Like the fear of the unknown. My mother had a lot of fears that she put into me that she still tries to put into me. Still like, you shouldn't go to New York. It's cold right now. Like that kind of stuff. Not even blaming her. It's just natural. But yeah, 7th grade, my best friend was moving away, and we knew he had only like one semester left into 7th and 8th grade. And my other close friend was having, he would within a year or two be in the foster system. So he and his parents were not getting along and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember sitting there before a play in which I was the star of, and I was one of the drama stars. I was known around school as being really good at this. And I just remember sitting before the play and just thinking, none of this is making me feel good. And that was like, oh, and I just remember like it all clicked in. And Steve, I've been a sad bastard ever since.
Well, pinpricks. Ooh, gotta be careful there. Pinpricks of light, Ken. Pinpricks of light is what we're all about looking for here. But no, and I think part of that is acknowledging those is acknowledging not being okay. I think that is such a hard thing for so many people to do and to talk about, and it doesn't mean you have to like shout it from the rooftops or tell everyone and their mother why you're sad or what's wrong with you or everything, but just like acknowledging that it's okay to not be okay, and that it's okay to like seek help for things is, I think, a first step that if a lot of people took, holy shit, the world would be a better place. I'm not trying to blame people, but just in general, like we would just understand each other better. So
it's not even a blame of the people; it's a blame of structures, society, cultures, and things passed down to us. That's why when I rail against toxic masculinity, it's not just dudes in Cybertrucks. It's those little things of my grandpa not communicating to my dad, and my dad not knowing how to communicate to me. That is toxic masculinity to me, because my grandpa felt that's not what you did. My grandma was not allowed to learn to drive a car when they got to America. He refused to let her because he was in control, and he kept it all inside. And so that's where it happens. Well, on that note, see you, everybody. Good night. No. Laserbolt says, when I was 10, my dad retired from the Army, and it took a while for me to start making friends because I was used to moving every few years. Yeah, absolutely. And then you can see from that where Laserbolt says, you know what? I'm going to go live in a forest and cook some meats and talk to the trees. I have no official Squirrel Center update today, Steve, but I do have some new videos I'm waiting to get to. Squirrely let me film her. I'm not kidding. I put the camera about 1.5 inches away from her, and she just sat there like, cool, I'm munching on this almond. So I got some great footage to come. Squirrels. So you got
you got a real one-on-one, like 60 minutes close-up interview with Squirrely. Oh, okay. Hold on. I'm making a note on my list here. We're going to get some 60 minutes tick, tick, tick music for the next one. Tick, tick, tick.
I'm more safer. Yeah, absolutely. And there is a potentially, I don't know if it's Mump. No, Mump is the smaller one. You all don't know this yet. I haven't got a lot of good video footage of Mump. Mump is smaller, but the one I call Worthington Mountain II, I think is getting really plump and is starting to put together that when I show up and leave, more food is there. And I think I almost have a third squirrel, which I can hang on. Now, this morning, this is a boring uncle at a party story. I lost power. Burbank lost power today, so I couldn't make coffee. So I was like, well, nuts to that. I'm going to the donut stand. And I got myself a coffee and a very large donut, Steve, just in case I wonder why I'm fat. And so I went in the backyard, and I actually sat down to try to have breakfast with Squirrely, but she wasn't up for it. She was like, this is weird. I don't know. So she walked away.
I'm going to give the people a 5-minute pass on wordplay jokes because you started that with nuts to that, talking about the squirrels.
Okay. God damn it. Cameron's already on a short leash today for some wordplay.
5 minutes, folks. You get 5 minutes.
5 minutes of wordplay. That's fair. You know what, Steve? You're right. I like this. Make a note of this. There's some other violations. When I do something that is in violation of my own rules.
If you're just hypocritical, yeah.
Yes. The hypocritical thing. So you all guys get 5 minutes. Cameron Stewart's off the hook for wordplay that was in the Force Center live stream today. And then we'll go from there. In the meantime, should we take a call or two before Kate gets in here? I want to hear. Usually, our first caller in is this nutter from Boston or the Boston area.
Don't do it again. Don't do it again.
He is a member of an exclusive organization that. No, I'm kidding. Jared is here. Start the timer, everybody. You get to use wordplay. You get to wear polo shirts. Jared, you get to do whatever the hell you want. How are you doing?
Are you sure you want to give me that power?
You're going to take it, I'm sure. You're in a punk band. You're in a punk band. You take what you want.
Oh, yeah, but I don't want the power. That's
good.
That's the awful thing.
That makes you the rightful heir to the throne of Westeros.
Oh, God. Well, anyway, the council would like to present new evidence to the court today for judgment.
Okay.
More investigations happened. Steve, if you could pull up the evidence, I'm gonna sip my wind juice.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. Can you tell me which evidence number, specifically which photo and evidence number I'm pulling up here?
Just any of the good ones right there. Hang on.
Okay. To reset this for
all right.
To reset this for
yeah,
people.
He's got. Well, that's you can't tell. Yeah. Go ahead, Ken.
To reset this for people, teaching y'all a little radio broadcasting here for anyone tuning in who's lost. I am trying to date Emilia Clarke. Steve thinks that's possible, but is worried that he might find evidence of her dating someone in a polo shirt, which will go against my values and ethics. And Jared's convinced he's found pictures of Emilia Clarke with men in polo shirts that she's romantically linked to. Steve debates that, but Jared, are you entering new evidence into the picture?
I am. I have 4 new photos for evidence. The first 3 are very good for the argument. Fourth one could be argued by Steve, but those first 3 are.
Okay.
Could be argued. Yeah,
okay, Steve. If you've got them, Steve, bring them. I'll switch the cameras here.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Oh, Jared's. Oh, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jared's shirtless. Oh no.
Jared's on the
show. No. Oh, Jared's the number one guy. It's your show, Jared. It's your show.
Again,
Ken is me.
All right. How does this does the thing? It's so okay. What is happening? Okay, hold on. All right. This is why. Eventually. Okay. All right. So Jared. All right. We got to switch this. And then I'm gonna add Jared. Jared, you there?
No. Yeah, no, not that one. You argued that one in the chat already.
So you there's
I have the wrong one. Okay, so tell me what the right one is then.
Here's her with a gay man who's not with her.
So I'm presenting the evidence that was sent to me, sir. Sorry. That is the people on the boat. You want the picture of the people on the boat? Okay. All right. Okay.
Steve, come. Look at that.
This evidence, Ken? Is this evidence, Ken? Does this look like evidence to you, sir?
I mean, I'm curious. She seems to be having a good time. She's enjoying herself. She's a great laugher.
This is from her Italian vacation, specifically.
Okay, that looks like a boatsman. That looks like an Italian boatsman.
Looks like an Italian boatsman to me, Ken.
I think that's staff.
That is definitely not staff. Where's the other one? The group shot.
And for the audio listeners, don't worry about it, okay? Come back later.
Just don't worry about it. Sorry, I'm trying to transition these carefully. The group shot. Okay, yeah, sure. You can have a group shot. I'll give you a group shot. Here we go.
Give me the goods here.
Apologies, Ken. I'm just kidding. This is all on the fly here. I didn't know we were litigating this on the fly. Here you go.
Okay, there's her.
Oh,
sitting down.
2 of them right there.
Those are again. One of them's a boatsman, right?
I'll give you the one standing up.
Okay, but by the way, that's one of my other flagrant fouls. Unless you've taken a bump in a wrestling ring, I do not want to see a fanny pack around you. You haven't earned the right to wear a fanny pack unless you've taken a bump in a wrestling ring. It's just a rule. Sean McCabe says deckhand. Let's all be honest. Boatsman is way more hilarious. But you're looking at the guy in the pink. You think that's a polo shirt? That looks like a
There's the
t-shirt.
pink and the white shirt. I'm pretty sure they're both in.
I don't think these are polo shirts.
And then there's
well, the guy standing up in the red shorts. That's a polo shirt.
yeah, no. There's another one I had sent him with the blue
almighty.
shirt guy. You
The
even
blue shirt
admitted
guy?
you lost. Yeah,
This
you
is-
even admitted you lost in chat.
This is insane. Okay, I know, but she's not dating any of these gentlemen. They're mostly
Yeah,
boatsmen.
that's the exactly. Yeah, that's where I'm with. The technicalities of the pictures existing is the one thing where I can say, okay,
find the
I was
last
gone.
one from Jared, who took a day off from work to get this going.
No,
This doesn't count. And this, hold on, I don't know if I necessarily love sharing this picture. This seems like more of a candid paparazzi picture. I don't know.
Show it.
All right, goddamn. All right.
They're
I
all
wanna see.
paparazzi.
All right,
They're all
all right.
paparazzi
I'm
pictures.
just
Because we
saying,
need
for the
that.
record, I was looking out for your girl here. For your girl here.
Because
Ken, that's all I'm
the
saying.
only way we're going to prove this is we find some paparazzi shot where she's like at a cafe with some dude and she's like, "Oh, you have a oh, I love you. Have a little bite there." Like that. There's
that
not
is
that is a boatsman
That is
behind her.
No.
Another boatsman.
The guy she's swimming with is the same gentleman in the white polo that she was laughing over the shoulder of. It is the same gentleman. Nope, not that one.
That's Richard Madden. That's Richard Madden, who I've met. I've met Richard Madden.
I'm
We've
trying
shook
to not
hands.
show my whole Discord thing here. Sorry, fellas.
Okay.
wasn't prepared
This
for
is
that's all.
this is enough. All right.
doing this live.
Okay, that's enough.
All right. That's all I got. That's all we got, Jared. That's the evidence
Look,
you have.
I appreciate the
Oh,
work.
oh, this dude. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. This guy.
right.
This dude.
This guy.
Yeah, that is the same gentleman.
I don't think there's enough evidence to prove that, Ken.
I think this is circumstantial evidence, just because, he's got an insignia on it. He works. He's a boatsman. Do we analyze the ears? This is silly. All right. All right. Let's try to restore some order here.
This is
That's right.
bullshit, Steve. You admitted defeat.
Steve's got the show tonight. Steve's got the show. I don't even know what's. And then if I do that, Jared's suddenly in the picture. I got to figure out what StreamYard. You're dumb. Oh, it's driving me crazy.
This is Ken. This is why
No.
over on the backstage we have freed ourselves from the shackles of StreamYard from doing this standpoint.
There we
and
go. Yeah, but
I do my producer Steve things.
there's just too many other things that are.
I understand. I get it. Hey man, you gotta. This is.
Yeah, Rogers a great.
I get my groceries at Walmart, Ken. I get it. It's fine.
Those are not the same guys. Roger is right. Those are not the same guys. Those are not the same guys.
They
All
are.
right. All right, Jared.
Come on. Lasers with me. If the polo fits.
Laser is not
If
with
the
anyone.
polo fits.
Laser's in a forest grilling meat right now, waiting for the end of the world. We're all going to go run to his camper's doorstep to try to survive.
speaking
And may Odin bless him.
All
right.
my browsers are Amelia Clark. I need to make sure I have the news up still.
Oh,
Hold on.
you're in trouble. Keep monitoring the news. Resetting the bottom of the hour. You're listening to the Blathering in a minute here. Kate Huseby is going to pop into the show. They have a new film coming out very soon called Quarter Life Crisis. That is an absolute honor being in. We're going to talk about that. But, Jared, before I let you go, real quick, did you have a quarter life crisis?
Of course. I literally said on my 25th birthday, I turned to my friend. I'm like, well, that's it. Quarter life in the books, page turned. And that didn't sit. But then again, I'm with you, Ken, in that my quarter life crisis started at consciousness because of my neurospiciness. Like my brain can, to this day, I still can't understand the concepts of countries and like division and human tribalism as a notion.
Okay,
and it upsets me to the point of like tears in therapy, because I'm just like, we are on a speck of sand going 250,000 miles an hour in nothingness, and we have we have weapons.
Mm-hmm. You sound like the Ottoman Empire before World War I, where everyone in the Middle East just kind of moved about freely, and then that changed dramatically. But okay, so you had a quarter life crisis, and maybe it's still lingering. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I turned 40 in 6 months. So.
Oh yeah, that's the end. That's the end of the world. No, it's not. It's not. All right, Jared. I appreciate you. I'm gonna get to our guest here, and I appreciate your work on what you're doing on the Mia Clark front. Okay. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
I think I need to give my browser a rest on this.
I'm worried for your algorithm, Jared.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Jared. Thank you,
All
my
right,
friend.
have a good one, guys. Be safe.
Jared the Type Pilot there. All right, Steve. I want you to. Do we need to do an update on Pizza?
I have a very fast update to the Pizza
Yes.
DEF CON level. Trump has directed the national security staff to convene in the Situation Room, according to the White House. Not good, Ken. That doesn't just happen.
Order in tonight. Order in. All right. Well, at least that's going well. But with the state of the world that it is, I do feel you need to find art. I do feel you need to find pieces of joy. So, Steve, I'm going to drop you out, and we are going to get on to what I was talking about. Kate Husby's going to pop on in here in a second, but I want you to see first this trailer for a new film coming your way called Quarter Life Crisis.
My birthday's coming up at the end of the month. It's like 25 days away, and if I could just change like every part about me, like that'd be perfect. I'm a singer and I guess, a documentarian too. I just realized like I'm nowhere near like where I wanted to be by this age.
What kind of steps are you taking to meet your needs?
I'm beginning this sort of month-long journey to my 25th birthday where I kind of want to reach my peak physical form. So would it be smart to start something like Ozempic?
I say that we try with hard work first.
We'll see where we're at in like 20 days, all right? Hey!
Hi. How are you?
I'm done!
So turning 25 is a problem for you.
Quarter life crisis, really.
Your obsession with aging is really a deflection of neurosis.
Time slipping through my fingers.
No, not at all. Not at your age.
You're going to only experience more of them if you're not standing up for yourself, if you're not becoming the best version of yourself.
Wait, so you're saying I need to be 25 years old to rent a car?
Yes.
Can I talk to your dad? Like, is somebody here I can talk to? How do I buy a house? Like a Venmo or?
No.
Absolutely can't wait for y'all to see it. I love that trailer. Please welcome, kind of back to the show, or at least the NEPSOC Network world. Kate Husby's here. My friend, how are you?
Good, Ken. It was so fun to watch that trailer with you and your audience. It gets me every time. It's been a wild journey.
Yeah, and I want to get into that and talk about Quarter Life Crisis and talk about you as an artist. You're one of my favorite people out there, you and Robert Butler III. That's how I got to know and work with you. But I just want to start on the surface. This trailer is fucking amazing, man.
Isn't it incredible?
Tell me how it got put together.
I can't take credit for the trailer. One of my good friends, Richard Lupersong, I was telling him about my movie and how I was in the process of editing it. And he offered to cut the trailer. And he is just one of those people who has an eye for trailers and putting the whole thing together and kind of communicating the whole story in like a minute and a half, which is incredible. Obviously, there's a lot under the surface there that you don't see fleshed out. But yeah, I have to give all the credit for the trailer to Richard, also known as Ricky. But yeah.
It's amazing. No, look, I know the movie's going to be great, and I can't wait. We're going to share a clip here soon. This is like a proper talk show today. But I know the movie's going to be great. But that trailer alone's enough. Like, you could just be like, hey, the movie could suck, but we had this. We had this put together. To put out.
Right. Yeah. No, and I've been posting it on TikTok, and the response has been absolutely amazing. People just resonating with the material, the content, the humor. Yeah, I can't wait for people to see the full thing. But I think the trailer is getting people hyped as we're, entering festivals and thinking about, sharing clips on social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this project's been a couple years in the making, right? Take me through that, because we shot the scene that people will see here in a bit, but I can't even remember when we shot it. In 2024, maybe, right?
Right. It's been a minute. So yeah, the film takes place in September of 2023, when I was approaching my 25th birthday. And it covers the 25-day journey leading up to my 25th birthday, where I am trying to get it all together, because I had this moment where I realized, I'm nowhere near where I thought I would be at this age. And so that sparked the idea for this documentary. What would it be like if I put myself through a crash course to try to be a fully functioning adult person in the world? And this is coming off the heels of graduating in online school, COVID, all of that. So I think, we shot your scene probably like a year ago, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit even longer than that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was mostly shot in the month of September of 2023.
That's crazy. That's the patience required to be a good artist sometimes. I think in this world, and I sound like an old man. I sound like the podcaster on your show that I played, but like, the fast gratification, and I fall to it, and I got 31 people watching now. I need 61 people. Like, sometimes great art, it's planned or it's spontaneous, but you build to it, and it takes time. And I think you guys have taken a wonderful amount. I mean this like a wonderful amount of time to put together something special. I can't.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying that, because it really has just been me and Rob, who most people know as RB3, editing this together. We tackled the first round of edits together, and then at some point he handed me his drive, and he started working on his movie, and I had locked in on the full timeline for like about a year now. I've been locking in on the full timeline, and it's really exciting to finally be able to share it with people through the trailer and upcoming like screenings that we're planning. And the patience is huge, but I also think there's something really special with the timing, because the year is 2025 and the world has never been in more of a crisis, as we see evidently from what you guys were talking about earlier. And I think the themes of the film have grown in relevancy, I think, as time has gone on, and it's been really interesting and fascinating to see how it takes on like a new life through coming out when it's coming out.
That's what great art does, right? It maybe begins in one spot, or there's some intentions behind it that are very personal. It's a personal story, and I want to know more about that. But the themes reach out beyond the art and connect to the world, or find people when they need to hear it, or find people in different situations who connect with it. So that's already a good thing that it's doing, that you're discovering in the process of even making it.
Yeah, we thought about putting in the vault till 2030, but we thought, people need to see this. So
I do want to talk about the formula. I didn't know how much I wanted to explain, and also I haven't seen a full cut, so I don't even know how it plays out. But like, I am playing a character, but it's presented as a documentary. But there's also some real moments documented. This is a hybrid in a weird way, which I think is a beautiful medium to work in, because I love documentaries, but I also love comedies or art with pathos. So and you're able to kind of control some of the narratives, but not all of it. How did you come to that decision to tell the story this way?
Yeah, I mean, comedy is my lifeblood. It keeps me going, as I'm sure you can relate to with all your stand-up work and comedy work. And I thought, first of all, the premise of this movie is ridiculous. The idea that people are supposed to have things figured out, right, by 25, but life is all about figuring out who you are, exploring what brings you joy. And I think like the premise itself is just funny. And so we leaned into the comedy with this. It is a documentary, but it is also a comedy film at the same time. And so it was a mix and match of reaching out to real experts in real areas of life, different fields of life, but then also finding the balance of, maybe somebody could bring a little something extra to this one expert, So it was very much like a real time figuring out who's gonna be a real expert, who's gonna maybe not be so expert in their field. But an amazing cast. Like the people
Mm.
who agreed to be in this are like some of the funniest and most insightful, talented people I've ever worked with. So I just feel like extremely blessed that like our cast and crew is as stacked as it is, including yourself.
I was going to say, unfortunately, you're also stuck with me because I made that blood oath with RB3 that I'd be in every one of the projects he or you are involved with as your old white dude. Do we
He
want to
told
roll?
us not to mention
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know. I saw. And by the way, you call him Rob, and every time, even on set, it confuses the hell out of me. You're like, well, Rob said. I'm like, we don't have a Rob here. Oh,
Right,
Robert Butler the
right.
third. Okay.
And on other sets, I know people who call him Bob or Bobby, and so I'm over here like,
What?
we all have a different alias for RB3, and I think that's special in its own way.
Because RB3 is special in his own way.
Yeah.
Kingsport Cal's a question, but we'll answer some of it here. What are Jay and Ken's roles in the doc? We'll keep some of that a mystery. Do you want to? In traditional talk show fashion, Cade, do you want to set up this clip you're about to roll?
Yeah. I'll do a quick physical comedy bit, and then we can cut to the. No, yeah. So the clip you're about to see is an excerpt from Ken's scene in the film. I just left a life coach who was trying to get me to understand how to be an alpha male, and he said, I live by the words of this podcaster, so you need to go see him. And that podcaster is none other than Dr. Luke Harrison, played by Ken Knapsack.
Or is it played? Let's see. Here's the clip.
The lines are blurry.
The lines are blurred. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign for my character. Here's Cade visiting very influential podcaster, Dr. Luke Harrison.
I've gone on dates, yeah, but...
Do you pray before your dates?
I'm not super religious myself. I'd say I'm more spiritual.
Ah, yes, one of the chinks in the armor of your generation. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I don't follow any kind of ideals. Is God a man to you?
I mean, Ariana Grande is one of my favorite artists, so no. But
when you understand your internal structure, the winds of the world don't blow you around as much. Would you know? You could.
Yeah, I would.
You're just going to lean back like your generation, just watching everything kind of wash over you.
I hear you having this sort of focus and frustration on my generation, but that's exactly why I'm making this documentary.
Okay.
Because, and I'm glad you kind of brought that up, because my generation is facing very unique struggles. We're sort of right in the middle of an age of, economic downturn, societal sort of upheaval, a lot of division politically.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't deny the struggles of it. I was just at an airport in Newark, and I paid $78 for a hamburger, and that was a problem.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I get it.
I just visited a doctor, and I'm starting a personal training program.
I believe that 25 push-ups a day will keep the COVID away. I think a lot of what we learned about the world was you talking about how do we take care of ourselves as a generation. I imagine you're asking yourself these questions as you're dipping your hand into a bag of fentanyl. And maybe not connecting the dots of what you're doing.
No, I've never done fentanyl.
You never done fentanyl?
No.
Research would show that's probably not accurate. But
I'm laughing at you because you're so great, Cade. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff.
It's wild seeing the live chat of your actual show, The Blathering, going next to the live chat of the Dr. Luke Harrison show. I mean, life imitates art, you know what I mean? But luckily, you're a much more wise man than that character.
Yeah, we hope, right? We hope. Yeah, and I don't even know. I'm sure a ton of the stuff we shot landed on the cutting room floor because we shot a lot of whatever stuff. So I hope what I'm campaigning for, Kate, is that there's a special edition released with the full podcast episode as a bonus. That's what I want.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to get to that point because there's a lot that we had to cut for time, but I think the funniest moments and the most quarter life crisis centric moments definitely made it into the film, and I'm excited for the audience to see the rest of the scene because that's only like a third of the full scene. So
yes.
There's a lot more of Dr. Luke Harrison to see.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, we are going to tell everybody where and when they can see this here. But one of the things I want to talk to you about is now that you've kind of maybe moved past this, because the quarter life crisis was real. As I talked at the top of the show, it's easy to make fun of, especially as you get older. Like, oh, I was so worried about things at 25. But it's very real when you feel it, and then you push through it, and you're never maybe on steady ground. But where are you now after the project before, as compared to before?
Yeah. I think I think we're all just still figuring life out as we go, and that's really like the joy of life is exploring, what's working and what's not. And I think making the film was like a really incredible way for me to process this juncture in my life where I'm leaving behind my, youth or childhood, and not so much because I'm just like still a very like, I don't know, youthful person in a lot of ways, but I think leaving behind some of the naivete of childhood and incorporating your childhood self into your adult self, and how do you merge those two worlds? And obviously everyone's still working on that as much as we can, but I think it's just showed me that it's one day at a time. You got to get wisdom where you can, get joy and love where you can, and just the narrative that you build around your life is so important. I think off screen too, about where you see yourself in the world. Like the one guy earlier was talking about how we're on a spinning speck of sand, and I couldn't agree more. But for me personally, as an artist and a creator, like recognizing my youth and realizing it's a privilege to even make it to 25, because I have friends who didn't, and just taking every day, seizing every day as much as I can, and bed rotting when I need to, because we all love a little bed rot.
A little bed rot indeed. Almost had our last few questions for you here too. When I first met you, you were producing stuff for Bobby Butler III and things with him, hearing things. Right. Also, you were doing stand-up comedy, but you have an absolute wonderful little music career going that I hope is actually getting bigger. You have a song that I've played on a pop rock and radio. You are one of the things I look up to you as is you're a brave performer. You find something and you go for it, and I admire that with you. You don't tell yourself no as much as maybe other people do, including myself. And I'm sure there's moments where you tell yourself no, but what drives you to tell yourself yes when it comes to art in life?
Yeah, thank you for that question. That's a very thoughtful question. I think for me, I have felt the most inspired in my life by art, whether it be TV, music, a painting, a can sculpture, but you know what I mean? And to be able to like give a little bit of that back to the world is like really special to me, and it's what drives me and motivates me, because I think when we put ourselves out there and we share our truths and we share our vulnerabilities like you do so often on this podcast, it lets other people feel seen, and it lets other people feel less alone, and it sparks ideas, and it sparks empathy and perspective, and laughs and giggles, and we love a good time. So I think for me it's like one thing I keep in the back of my head is, if you're having fun, the audience is having fun, and I always want the audience to have a good time, when it's appropriate, of course, but you know what I mean, like so in this movie, like I started out questioning, do I play more of a character, do I play more of myself, and it's landing somewhere in between, but it's really like a true expression of myself and the way that I wanted to go for laughs and sort of like kind of just make RB3 laugh behind the camera. You know what I mean?
Which is the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, and so if he was laughing on set, I was like, okay, we're good. We're going somewhere good, because this movie would not have been possible without him in more ways than one. But especially just his presence and our friendship is like just so like we just are always trying to make each other laugh. So it kind of stems from that too.
It does indeed. All right, the final big thing. People are asking, I know where I'm going to be seeing it here locally at a premiere night, but what's the plan? You said festivals, which means sometimes you can't show it publicly if you're going for festivals, but it depends on what you're doing. So what's the plan for the world to see this?
Yeah, so we're like just finishing the film now. So it's not going to be out to watch the full thing for a while. But what I want to encourage everyone to do is to follow the film on social media, whether you're on Instagram or TikTok, because we're going to be posting a lot of clips, a lot of like deleted scenes, like stuff that didn't make the final movie, like some things that might get canceled. But so follow us there, and we're going to be hosting screenings in LA throughout the summer and the fall as we're going through the festival circuit. And if you want us to bring the film to a screen in your city, like send me an email, hit me up. Let's screen the film for you and your friends. And yeah, just stay updated on our socials for those clips and those moments, and more Ken Knapsack as Dr. Luke Harrison.
Yeah, there's some stuff I know we said that I hope I can't wait. Put it out there. I want the world to see.
Right.
Remember, I'm playing a character. But great. I think I have the link for Instagram in the YouTube description below. I'll go back and add Blue Scar any place you are on. I'll get it from your email that you sent me. But yeah, do that, folks, right now, and let's build some buzz for this. Let's get this going here. I'm really excited about it. Like, cannot wait. Like, I already knew, hey, I love everything I work on with you two. But I knew we had some magic that day, and then to see that trailer and to know some of the magic behind the other scenes too. I can't wait for the world to see it.
Thank you so much for having me on to talk about this. This is the first press for it. I've done it all, and it's very fitting, and luckily your live chat is a lot kinder than Dr. Luke Harrison's. I encourage you to go back and read some of those live stream comments if you didn't catch them while it was rolling. But yeah, lots to explore in the film, lots of exciting stuff coming up, and I'm so grateful you're a part of it. So thank you for championing our work.
Hey,
let's go.
Let's do it. I'm grateful that you keep me around for some fun. All right, Kate Huseby, everybody. We'll see you, Kate.
Bye, chat.
Bye. All right, we love Cade. Love Cade. Love working with him. RB3, them, and RB3. RB3 is just absolutely one of my favorite people in the world, and he introduced Cade to me, and I am ever thankful for all of them. Jared says, what was your super chat? What were the stars on the face? That's a plot thing. Sorry, you don't get that answer quite yet. All right, producer Steve. There you go.
That looks awesome. That was great. You were the first press, Ken. That's amazing.
We do what we do. Dr. Luke Harrison is. We said some things that day.
Dr. Luke Harrison looks like an asshole.
He's an asshole.
He seems like a real piece of work.
He's an absolute asshole. So, so there you go.
We'll have to get some. You'll have to see if the Blather community will fundraise for it if we need to, but we need those Dr. Luke outtakes for sure.
Yeah. We'll do the full cut, the full episode. At
one point,
Cade reached out and they asked me if we could maybe do like a Dr. Luke Harrison Instagram page. I'm all for it. Then that kind of got lost in the waters as they were making the film and everything, are still making it. But maybe we'll revisit that. But it's so scary in this world where media literacy can sometimes be a little lacking. They see my face and they don't connect that it's a character. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're going to take a call here. We got Addie. We'll talk a little quarter life crisis and anything she wants to take on the show too. But what is I'm trying to get back up to the pizza tracker. Not looking good, huh?
It's not. Christ, Ken, it's not looking good. So
I don't mean to turn this into a game. I'm just like, I feel like that scene in Return of the King with, what is it, Pippin talking to Gandalf right as they're behind the gate and they're talking.
Oh, we're already there.
Yeah.
Oh, I figured we were still. Oh no, Ken, I thought we were still at the part where they're like on the balcony and like you're Gandalf and I'm Pippin and they're like we're seeing the whole Minas Morgul go all green and you're just like, oh shit's about to go down, kid. And I'm just like, oh no, we can do it.
All right,
that's kind of where I think we are.
We'll go with that one. We'll dial it back.
Yeah. The gates haven't been brought down because they're like on like level 2 or 3 at that point. Ken, shit has really hit the fan by then. We're not.
You're right. You're right. Oh, Kate has given an answer just so because I know Cal had the question too. They are Starface pimple patches, something we all need. Starface pimple patches also open for concept of a plan at a punk show in Boston. I have 30. There we go. All right. Love that. Cade is amazing. Right. Let me reset here. I'm not on the comment. There we go. Okay. Should we do a call here? Addy, Dr. Addy, Professor Addy?
Let's do Dr. Addy. Let's have Dr. Addy on.
Let's do it, Professor. Hello, you're here.
Yes, I am, and I wore a polo today, so have that.
I'm so sorry, but look, but Addy, you are allowed. You are allowed to wear a polo. The men in my chat aren't allowed to wear it.
I was about to say, is it because of my gender?
Because I am going to. It's a minefield as it should be for a Bolivating bovine like me to criticize anything you or any other woman would be wearing. You know what I mean? It's not my place.
Okay.
Not my place.
I'm also just going to throw out there that according to that picture, Richard Madden can wear a polo.
Again. Yes.
Just saying.
It's about the arms and the gut. It's a good fitting polo.
It is.
Yeah. And we do one bit of breaking news, Addy, then I want to get to your quarter life crisis. Hey, Ken Plume checking in from a parking lot. Always a good sign when a dude's just lurking in a parking lot. He needs me to talk him out of getting a milkshake. Ken, we are moments away from perhaps World War III. You should order 6 milkshakes, and we all should tonight. All right? I'm not trying to be an alarmist. And then Sean asks, can I wear a polo for professional reasons? As someone who had to wear one for professional reasons, quit your job. All right, Addy, where do you want to go? Do you want to talk quarter life crisis, or what else is on your mind?
I mean, I can tell I had a quarter life crisis.
Walk me through it.
So, I mean, like most things in my life, I came to it kind of late. I did not have a quarter life crisis at 25. I had probably because I was still in grad school. So like grad school delayed a lot of things. But I started panicking about the time I was going to turn 30. About just the things I had or had not done. In my life that I thought I would have done by then. I woke up the morning of my 30th birthday in Disneyland and cried.
You woke up in Disneyland? What happened the night before to get you waking up in Disneyland? Oh, at a hotel. Okay.
I woke up at one of the Disneyland hotels. So like, yeah, technically I was in Disneyland.
Okay.
I do think that directly led to me quitting my job, giving up all the security I had there, moving across the country and starting completely over. And here I am.
And I agree with you. And Brady's, you talk about being in grad school. If you're still in school, there's that what is behind the quarter life crisis isn't necessarily just the age, but it is attached to at 25, generally speaking, you're out of college, your friends from high school have moved on, like you're not in your hometown, or just your life is ready to transition into the next phase around that time. But grad school could delay it because you're still focused on what you're working on or what you were working on at the time. So it makes sense to you to have this at 30. But then turning 30s, it's all its own kind of trauma. So you got best of worst both worlds or something.
Well, especially, yeah, I was turning 30. I have two incredibly close friends, like the types of friends where their kids are my nieces and nephews. They both were married or getting married that year. And I was not. They were preparing to have babies, and I was not. Like, it was just it yeah, you start looking around at the life you thought you were going to have, and it's not there. And yeah.
And that keeps hitting. But where you are, so you make this big move cross country, maybe change a little direction. Did that work? Where do you feel now? Is the new crisis coming? Because it always is. Yes, I know. But did it help that crisis that you were feeling then? Was it a good move forward?
I think it did. Every day is a new crisis. Yeah, every day is the slow march toward the midlife crisis.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it helped, and I think it helped, to the point that several people have made in chat tonight. I think, I look back now and realize that, like, it's all okay. That I am pleased with the things I do have, and what, that everyone's, to sound like a cliche Instagram post, everyone's timeline is different, and it's not the wrong timeline, it's your timeline.
Yeah.
And all that bullshit I see every time I open my algorithm. But yeah.
But that stuff is also true. I say the bumper sticker wisdom is true. It's just harder to swallow, and it's saccharine, and it sometimes is so generalized that it seems like it's not as valuable. But I sometimes think that's the answer, right? Like, sometimes I look at that stuff and retch, and other times I go, yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
You're right. I know you're right. 8984M says, try to be humble, though. My parents moved countries at 25. That is one of the things, too, that I think my generation on, and everything down to where we are now with the younger generations, it is that boomer generation, because of the way the world was and what the prices were compared to their incomes and everything, they were also more established, right? So, like, you kind of grow up, like, I remember my dad's 30th birthday, but you kind of grow up with a sense of, not that you need to keep up with them, but there's a sense of normalcy, generally speaking. There's a house, there's maybe a dog, there's your safe haven as a kid growing up. And then when you're like, I can't afford a house, I can't get a dog, there's no fence in my life. Like, that stuff does add up from Gen X on, I feel. I don't know if you ran into that. It varies.
Absolutely. I played a game for many years, probably to my detriment, of, well, I'm officially older than my mom was when she married my dad. Well, I'm officially older than my dad was when he married my mom. Well, I'm officially older than when my mom was when my brother was born. Oh, I'm officially older than my mom was when I was born. Like I've missed all of those milestone moments. Like,
yep. Yeah, and I mentioned up top, but I think it's real. Like, when you're a sports fan, especially in a different era, maybe different now, but when you're a sports fan, you're a kid. I'm 12, and I'm watching Major League Baseball players, like, retire at 33. I'm thinking, oh, that means it's old. Or you're watching, or you're obsessed with the Beatles like I am. Holy crap, they were 25, 24, 26, and they did Sgt. Pepper's. I've done nothing but maybe run one poem in my room. Like, those kind of pressures, silly as they might be, are very real as you're coming up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to JMB's point in chat, I hear Meg Ryan's voice in my head frequently when as I now, I am closer to 40 than I am to 30. That, I have thought more in more than one occasion, and I'm gonna be 40.
I think I'm gonna have to watch that maybe this weekend someday. Well, hey, you're doing good, though. We all look up to you here, and sometimes maybe you don't feel that, or in our own lives, we don't feel the eyes looking up to us as inspiration or for support or just knowing that they're with us. But, your resume will forever be impressive to us. But not that you even need that. Just be you. You are you.
I appreciate that, Ken. I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
really like I cannot understate how much I appreciate or overstate. I don't know which word I want. How much it means to me, how much that you and the Blathering community have just sort of embraced me and let me be myself, and I it astounds me that you all think so highly of me, and I hope I live up to what you have put on me. I really
do. You do. That's the trick. That's the trick. You already do. Everyone here in this chat, well, except for this bucket of failure that is Jerry the Cannon Junkie. I'm older than the most actors in Ghostbusters. I'm kidding. Jerry's actually one of the only people that regularly makes me laugh. But yeah, as Laserbolt says, love you, Addie. Look, Addie, you've got the blessing from Kingsport Cal. He says you're cool and smart. Kingsport Cal doesn't even like me. All right, you've got Kingsport's blessing. You're
Kingsport.
set. You're set.
Kingsport Cal only likes me because I've been to Kingsport, Tennessee. Let's be honest.
There you go. Addie, any final thoughts here? I'm going to take a call from Detective McCarcel. Producer Steve's going to check on the pizza tracker to see if there is a war going on, or an additional war going on, or more of a war going on. But final thoughts.
I would like to close with a question that was going to be my question tonight before we had to talk about quarter life crises.
Yeah.
For you, for producer Steve, I want to hear his answer too. I want to hear answers in the chat. I'm curious, first of all, do men get told they look tired? And if you get told you look tired, what is your chosen response? I personally say thank you. And that's what I've got, folks. Good night.
Good night from Dr. Addie. Steve, so yes, I have been, that's been said to me online here. Maybe someone checks in, they haven't seen me in a while, but it's not as frequently as a woman gets, and definitely not with, I think, the same venom behind it. Even if it's unintentional, it's still a societal venom that I think a woman will face more than me, Steve, because I just naturally look sweaty and tired. You?
You know, I've luckily never made the mistake of saying that to a woman. My wife says that to me pretty much every morning after a backstage stream, and rightfully so.
Well, that's a different situation,
which is fine. And it's also because we have a child and have all those responsibilities. But yeah, no, that's not a good look, Ken. Don't tell a lady she looks tired.
Yeah.
Just general rule of thumb. Just maybe say something else. I think a good rule of thumb is if you don't, if you're just gonna tell someone something, anything at all, just keep it positive unless you are actually offering constructive criticism for something. Just leave the poor girl alone.
Yeah. So what you're telling me is I should stop yelling about polo shirts, but I'm not. Sean says, yes, I look tired. I fought in 2 wars. That's an answer I don't have a right to and won't say, but I think that's a great answer. Tully says this: I was once waiting for a lift in my lobby, and a kid walked by and said, and asked to stand, "Why does that man look sad?" Sorry, that's the greatest. That's Tully. You should wear that. You should wear that as a red badge of courage. That is the greatest. I aspire to be that person there, Tully. That is amazing stuff.
Reminds me, Ken. That reminds me. So, because I wonder if you have one of these. Do you have a funny story, or do you have any time that you remember of hearing someone talking about you, like overhearing someone talking about you, like in a hotel lobby, in a crowd, or like in a party, or just something? Maybe they didn't know, but like that kind of exact scenario where he's walking by and he's like, "Oh man, that little boy just said he looks tired." Do you have anything that could relate to totally? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
here.
you put me on the spot. But no.
I'm trying to ask that question as long as I can.
No, that's fantastic though. I'd love to rack my brain. The only thing recently, when I was at New Rock Stars, there was a meeting in another room about which I came up, but not by name, and the face of that channel was like, "Well, why are we working with this writer?" And I was like in the other room, and I was like, "I'm not supposed to be hearing this," but that's slightly different than what you're talking about. So no, I don't. But if anyone else in chat has got that, do you have one of those?
Well, it just comes back to kids because it's another one with a kid because I had a similar thing in a hotel lobby where I was, again, this comes back to Celebration, and I was, me and my wife were walking to the convention. She was Rey, I was Kylo Ren, and I had like the whole, outfit on, the mask, and there was like this 3-year-old kid who was in the lobby, and he was just batshit terrified. And he was like, like hiding behind his parents, and everything like that, like blah blah blah, scared. And then I tried to like lean down and like say hi, and that totally did not work and anything like that. And so then I walked by, and the guy, he's like, the dude said something, like his wife said something to the guy that was like, why would he think that was a good idea or something like that, like blah blah. I was like, shit. Well, I tried.
You tried. What are you gonna do? Teach your kid it's a movie. Teach your kid it's a movie. No, that's amazing. Yeah. No, I try to. I've never had. I don't think I've ever had one of those. Oh, are you pregnant moments? And they're like, no. Like I've never had that. The closest I had, and this is,
that's a good one though. Don't ever. That's just
just in general. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Yeah, I learned because you just look stupid. When I was, I was, shall we say, a late bloomer, hadn't done a ton of dating or sexual intercourse. I just didn't know as much my way around just normal relationship behavior. A female comic showed up one night and because what ended up happening, she had some like an eye procedure, so she didn't wear eye makeup on. But I just kind of was like, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you all right? You look a little different." And she kind of we were friendly, but she was just like, "I look different? Oh, no, I don't have my eye makeup on." And she said it in the way of, "Oh, you've never woken up with a woman." Right? And so number one, that told me shut up. 2, maybe just observe and report more than speak. And like because I just saw this the other day, on some of the algorithm finds it where it's like someone's like, we're being catfished by Sydney Sweeney. Here's a picture of her here on the red carpet, and here's a picture of her out in the park running. It's like, you fucking insult. Have you never fucked and woken up the next day? Or have you never been invited back to a house? Is this you're just outing yourself as an absolute, not just chauvinistic pig, but a man who doesn't know the way of the woman in the world? Like, you think Sydney Sweeney walks around like this? No. This is who, and you get this, the real her, when she allows you into her heart or her life. You absolute incel fuck. I learned that night of the comedy show that I was at. I don't know my way around this yet. I'm gonna shut up.
You think my breath smells this good all the time? Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Ken says, why would he think that was a good idea? Should be in all of producer Steve's merch. Yeah, that should be that.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, we got some calls to get to and a little time to do it. So Addie says, I'm glad to have inspired this conversation. Addie, you're our inspiration. All right, let me check the news real quick before we get Detective McCarcel on. White House says Trump to leave G7 meeting in Canada. Oh, we're in the 51st state to return to Washington amid Mideast tensions. But we're really tracking the amount of Domino's pizza or other pizza ordered in this area here, and I'm not seeing more of that. Okay, Steve's got his finger on that pulse, though.
I've got my finger on the pulse and the tomato sauce. Rubio is returning to Washington tonight with Trump. The State Department spokesman says that is the latest update on that. So they're assembling the Trump Avengers there to the Situation Room.
I think a lot of this, I've never going to sit here and pretend I'm a foreign policy expert, but I think a lot of what's going on, it's part of their bungle. But there's also just things that happen in the world, and they happen. My fear, no matter what you thought of any other administrations, except for the other one. But no, I'll even say this. Even in 2016 to 2018 range, if they're gathering all these players in the Situation Room, I have a little more faith than I do now, where a bunch of chuckle fucks are going to be sitting around on Signal Chat in a Situation Room trying to figure out how to dance through this needle.
Yeah.
Versus any other time in our history. And that's not saying we've done things perfect at all, by far from it. But you know what I mean? Like, especially after watching that Bin Laden American Manhunt, when they're all in the room and they're like, these chuckle fucks in a room trying to figure out this situation scares me maybe even more than the situation, if that makes sense.
The quote-unquote adults in the room jumped ship a long time ago. And so now it is all everyone who's left. And that's the scary thing is we're 6 months in. So here we go.
Yes. Speaking of 6 months in, I don't even know what that means. Detective McCarthy's on the show here. I don't know what that means. I'm just trying to do a radio transition like Steve's little graphic transitions. Detective McCarcel, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh man, I'm both looking and feeling tired, if I'm being honest. So
you look great, my friend. You look great.
Showered, so
you're still in school, so your core life crisis might be delayed, right? Or did you have one going in?
Oh no, I had one. I was fully an alcoholic by 25. I was.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
No, life was terrible. My 20s were fucking awful. In fact, hey, let's just steamroll that into what I was going to talk about anyway. Yeah, no, I was
what are you going to talk about?
Miserable in my 20s, but in my 20s, I started to have issues with permanence, if that makes sense.
Permanence. Okay.
So like actually settling in a place and feeling like it's not gonna like fall apart on me, because
so I'll use the word anxiety, but that not necessarily is what you're talking about, but just the anxiety that it's all going to collapse around me and that I can't find security in something that would normally be secure, or maybe others find secure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It started when the first apartment I lived in with some friends. We were all just early to mid 20s, and it just felt like, man, we're gonna be here for a few years. We're gonna all get our shit together and whatnot. No, we were out of there by the end of the first year of the lease. So, and then I had to move back with my mom for what ended up being only the first time.
Yeah.
And a year after that, got into another place with one of the friends I was with and his now wife. And by the end of a year, they were out because they had a baby and moved in with her dad because they needed the help. And then
point being, you sometimes, you never really, it's an ongoing crisis, like we were joking, but it's an ongoing set of problems to solve and fix and get through, and you never know what's coming. And that's part of the point, right? And it's hard to find sure footing in that.
Yeah. And then I admittedly thought I had sure footing for a while. I was able to, unlike with the first place, I was able to find people to move in with me there. Yeah. And I ended up there for a couple years. And then summer 2022, we got the boot. Just the guy decided he wanted to flip it and sell it, told us to get the fuck out. So even though, and he had left us in the summer heat in South Louisiana with a broken AC for a straight month.
That should be
sat on his ass about that. Yeah, no, we were legitimately considering like if there were any legal recourse we could take, and it was shaky at best. It was a whole thing. It would have cost us more to sue him than we would have gotten out of him. So it wasn't
the way. Ain't that the way?
All
right. So what's the big lesson? Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I ended up having to move back in with my mom for the second time. But
all right.
A lot of this got kind of dredged back up in the last couple of weeks because my fiance just moved out of Baton Rouge. She's up in it's called the city's Monroe, Louisiana, but it's northeast Louisiana. It's about 3.5 hours away from me. So all that kind of.
How close is it to Thibodeau?
About 4.5 hours.
Oh, okay. That's the only other city I know. I know New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, and Thibodeau.
So if you know where Shreveport is, it's
Shreveport, Steve. Shreveport.
It's straight across if you just go directly east from Shreveport, you'll hit it in about 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
I love this. I love this. You know, I love directions.
I could tell you the whole route if you wanted to. If we had time for it.
Maybe another time. Okay. So in closing, Michael, what is the big lesson that you take from all this?
I'm kind of trying to work on what the lesson is as it stands, because I know that I know that her being up there will only be 2 years, but that's still in the meantime 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 2 years. Yeah, I'm without my dog for at least 6 months, if not longer, and that seems like a lifetime to me. So an actual human being, yeah, I think. And it did. The reason I was even next to Kingsport Kyle in Johnson City, Tennessee, was my girlfriend at the time. Left for 2 years to get her master's, and you're gonna get through it, Michael. You're gonna get through it.
I know it will. It's just,
Mhm.
but hey, it's times like this, and I'm glad to have this community. So,
and you're a valuable member of it. There, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your truths about this.
hell yeah, man, hell yeah,
Hell yeah, indeed. Thank you, Detective. Detective Michael McCarcel. Again, for those just joining, not a real detective, but it's a nickname he accidentally got for me, and it's stuck. ETSU represent. There you go, Kingsport. You've got. Oh no, that's. We're going to take a call from Cal at the end of the show. He's got another picture.
Okay.
Is this something that you started on the backstage where now Cal brings show and tell?
Show and tell. I try to tell the folks who keep the show and tell kind of stuff for the backstage. That's what it's for. But if Cal wants to send me something, I can try to show a picture. But no, I just learned from that call that Thibodeau is something other than the fired coach of the New York Knicks. I just assumed Tom Thibodeau was a one of a kind. I didn't know that was a place in Louisiana. That's why I love this show, Ken. I learn stuff every 3 times a week. I learn something at least.
The first great love of my life was from Thibodaux, Louisiana, and
wow,
and that's all I know. I never went there.
Okay,
that's all I know.
Okay,
that's all I know.
All right.
And not the great love of my life at all. Spidey says the woods. All right, let's take some calls here so I don't spend all night taking your nights here. We got Sean. We have got Kyle. So let's do Sean, then we'll do Kyle, and then we got Cal to close out the show. Anyone else wants to call in, we'll get you in now. We're talking about quarter-life crisis. We're talking about the world. We're talking about anything you want to go. Have a question, have a take, and go for it, Sean. You're on the air, my friend. What do you got?
Good evening. What would your meal of choice be? To have somebody just cook you a meal.
Okay.
Birthday, Father's Day, who cares a day? What is your meal, Ken?
Is this while the bombs are falling, or is it like
I
a
thought
last
this was
meal?
like death row, man. Like is this like your death row meal? Like what is?
Nah, like your yeah. I mean, by that point, come on.
Yeah, but
your favorite meal. I'm talking like a ratatouille moment.
Yeah. Okay. See, this is a great question, and
my wife says, the one that would awaken your inner fat kid.
I mean, today I had chips and salsa, 2 enchiladas, rice and beans, and a skinny margarita that was not skinny. Like that was good. Mexican food's on the list. But honestly, if I'm such a simpleton and a simple man, Sean, that like if you were to say, Kat, I'm on the way to your house, I've got a wedge salad, I've got a great French dip, and I've got you some garlic cheese toast. That's all I need.
Melanie, you taking notes?
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, I'm basically describing what I order at the smokehouse when I go, because I'm not a big steak guy. Mashed potatoes might need to be involved, or a baked potato, but simple. And Sean, I like things in my hands. Giggity. All right. I like the food in my hands. Okay. I like that meat in my hand. So a sandwich truly is one of my favorite meals. It truly is one of my favorite things to have.
Forget about it, brother.
What would you have?
Me, pretty much pot roast, potatoes, carrots, bit of gravy in there, and some biscuits.
Can't go wrong there. We can't go wrong there. Is that a Sunday night at the McCabe house?
Yeah, it varies, man. We're having fun. I mean, my wife's Italian, so I cook up a good bolognese every now and again, some carbonara.
Do you do? Oh, you like macuga with the carbonara. Are you like producer Steve, who every Sunday puts on his apron and makes a good sauce? Is that a Sunday? Are you a Sunday sauce house?
Yeah, everybody makes fun of us. We're like the Reagan family on Blue Bloods. the Irish Catholic family. You've got to be there on Sundays, no matter what.
Yes. Okay. Love that.
I don't need an apron to make my sauce, Ken.
I'm not making fun of you, Steve. I want you to have an apron. We need to make a Blathering apron. I want to see you and Sean in Blathering aprons.
Steve, you can't go wrong with an apron, brother. I highly recommend it. Saves you clothes for game day.
Yeah.
Laserbolt says ribeye, asparagus, baked potato, cherry pie for dessert. This is why we're all going to pile into Laserbolt's camper and survive the world together. I'll take the top bunk. It's okay. Sean, I appreciate you, man. How you all holding up out there?
Yeah, doing all right, brother. Doing all right. For anybody listening, a very happy Army 250th. All the best, man. Here's the 250 more.
250 more. No, of all the things that happened on Saturday, I think we should acknowledge that, hey, 250 years is it's an accomplishment. Everything else is a circus around it, but congratulations to all that. And you were Army.
I was Army.
Yeah.
2004 to 2012, 4th Infantry Division.
2012, man. That's a good run, buddy. It's a good run.
Yeah, that was my quarter life crisis.
Yeah, that's a bit of a crisis. Yeah, that's a bit of one. Love that. Sean, thanks for calling in, buddy, as always.
All the best, guys. Love you.
There you go. Love you, Shawnee. I feel like I know Sean enough to Steve call him a Shawnee. Yeah, Shawnee, give me some of that Sunday sauce. That's what I feel.
I'm not gonna let you get away with the wedge salad.
Look, man, what have you got against the wedge? You and Plume are anti-wedgers.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with Plume on much, but I agree with him on the wedge salad.
Why? I'm open to the criticism here. I'm not going to yell at you. All right?
It's not so much criticism. It's just like if you could have so many other better salads, why have a salad that makes you do all that work? Like, if you get another kind of salad, it's all cut up for you already. The dressing is evenly distributed. How do you eat croutons with your wedge salad, Ken? Do I cut it off like a piece of a steak, then grab a crouton, then go in? Like, that's a lot of work for a salad. I'm eating a salad, Ken. I have other shit to do.
I do look, I had a good salad yesterday. Mark Ellis and I was so cute. We both saddled up to the Barwood Ranch. We each had the same salad. Not the same salad. We each ordered the same salad. I like a good spinning salad. I like that. I like a good Caesar. I like a barbecue chopped. I like all that. The wedge salad brings together the things I like. Iceberg lettuce, which I know people will say that's just water and lettuce form. Yeah, exactly.
The celery of lettuce, yes.
The celery of lettuce. I like iceberg lettuce. I like copious amounts of dressing to an unhealthy level. And then I love you get the dressing, you get the salad, you get the lettuce, and then you just get to scoop up the bacon bits or the tomatoes or maybe a crouton.
It's so much, you don't need to. It's salad. You don't need to. It's so much. It's just so much work for a salad. I don't know, man. I feel bad for it.
I hear you, but I've never found it to be work. I found it to be a party in my mouth, and I'm invited.
Well, hey, if you are the star of that party, and it's a party every time, I'm not going to poop on anyone's party, Ken. Let me just put it that way.
Look, Claudia's backing me here. Wedge salad combo. It's the best. So Claudia and I will go to Smokehouse, get a wedge salad. You all can stir up your Caesars or whatever you got.
That was the origin of Producer Steve was the wedge salad. That was basically like the first thing I think I ever really bitched you about.
You ever yelled at me about? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Other than like NFL picks and stuff, but yeah.
No, that's great. We'll do more. All right, we got a call from Kyle to get to here. He's got a rant in place. Kyle Harlow's on the air. Mr. Kyle, take it away.
Hey, Ken, what's up, man? So you remember back when you were doing Saturday Night Knapsack, right?
I do.
And you were nice enough to read a couple of the fake commercials that I wrote for you.
You did? Yes, absolutely. You wrote some. Yes, absolutely.
So if I were still doing that, there's a certain product and set of commercials going on right now that I would definitely be looking to poke fun at. And it is the product known as Fresh Pet, aka expensive people food for cats and dogs. I do not understand this concept, Ken. Like the commercials for Fresh Pet mock, every single one of them mocks somebody for making fun of Fresh Pet because they know it's a dumb idea, Ken. There's one
it's built into the marketing.
It's built into the marketing. There's one with Steve Sharippa, and I love Steve Sharippa. In his commercial, it is implied that he is a member of the mafia and he murders someone for mocking Fresh Pet. I checked it out at the store yesterday. It's like $6 a pound. I don't understand this. Just like make yourself some food and throw some to your dog or cat. I don't. You're a caregiver to many squirrels. You're not spending $6 a pound to feed them. I don't understand it, Ken.
Not yet. I did just buy 5 pounds of peanuts. Yeah, no, I wait. Look, we spoil our dog. We really do. And Kingsport Kyle's in there yelling, dogs are not people. Stop putting clothing on them and giving them human food. I don't fully agree with Cal there. We have a drawer full of wonderful clothing for our dogs to wear over the years. But we'll feed. Look, have I snuck Francis a bunch of French fries from McDonald's? Yes, of course I have. But we keep the food pretty normal. And I'll tell you where this comes from, Kyle. When I was a security director at the Farmers Market at the Grove, 3rd and Fairfax in Hollywood, on the property there was a office building. And in that office building was a company called the Ant Farm. And the Ant Farm did a bunch of movie trailers, like big. We're talking Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff. They did movie trailers. The owner of that company had a dog. Nothing against the dog, but every day that dog got a meal for it ordered from Wood Ranch. The dog ate better than me every day. And the dog would be taken for a walk. And I'd always see the dog go for a walk. And I'd just be bitter at this poor innocent dog that just has a privileged life. And then, sub-trivia question, the girl walking the dog was none other than Rachel Cushing Levine. She worked for that company, and then she was like assigned to the dog. So years later, when I met Rachel through Schmodown and Schmoes, we realized we're in the same place again. She's like, "Oh no, I walked that dog, and yes, that dog ate better than all of us every day." So I think Steve and Kyle, I'm with you on the fancy food for dogs. Just get them some munch.
Yeah, I feel like if you remember the Will Ferrell Saturday Night Live commercial, where you could hire him to chew out your dog for being picky about its food. I feel like you need to bring that character into this.
I absolutely agree with you. I think this is a great point, Kyle. And yeah, I've seen those commercials. There's a place in Hollywood, and yes, we all can Beverly Hills, Chihuahua, all that kind of stuff. There's a place in Hollywood on the West Hollywood border that offers all this kind of real healthy thing. And I think at the end of the day, Kyle, and I want to get your opinion on this before I let you go. I think what we're talking about here is people might be disgusted of what their dog's food looks like, and they don't want to serve the dog food they're disgusted by, so they then go get things that looks like rib cutlets and potatoes. So it makes them feel better. The dog's happy with whatever you put in front of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. They can spend their money however they want, but like I say, if you want to get your dog some people food, just throw them some of your own people food. I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kyle, that's a home run of a call. Big win on that there. Good take.
All right.
Taken
Thanks,
down.
bud.
Thank you, Kyle Harlow, everybody. Checking in from Cubs country. Steve, when you were as a kid, did you have a family pet that you had to feed that disgusted you? Not the pet, but the food?
The cat. Yeah, I wasn't a cat person growing up. Our family cat hated everybody except for our mom.
That's fair.
Yeah, and so the cat ate wet food, and that wasn't fun. The dogs were always cool. I hate the smell of dog food. I have to like hold my breath when I feed my dogs. It's not the look or anything. It's just the smell. I don't know.
Look, I say this isn't even me mocking folks. I understand it because as a kid, we had dogs, and then there were certain kinds of the loaf. I call it the loaf. You open up the can, the Alpo, and it's like. And it's like just this gelatinous loaf of food. The smell, the look, I would retch. I'm not in that spot now. Francis has what I call munch, the loaf, and we mix it up. But Grace wouldn't love it too, and it was just a reaction. She couldn't help it. So it was like so I was kind of in charge of the food. But we didn't order rib cutlets for Francis.
No, and I am a proponent of I give the dog food. Like we don't give our dogs people food. The only times I've given my dog people food was when they were about a year old. We took them to get clipped, and on the way home, I got them a cheeseburger. I was like,
yeah, that's fair.
Here you go.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I did this to you. Have a cheeseburger. We got one final call here, but I do want to get to the super chat here from Malcolm. Malcolm, always generous with a super chat and a question. Hey, Ken, I hope all is well. In the spirit of this aging talk, and because I'm feeling morbid, have you given any thought to what your epitaph would read? Who do you trust to write your obituary? Maybe. Hopefully, if I'm fortunate, by the time I go, anyone else that I might trust other than I trust producer Steve. Wouldn't trust Ken Plume to write it. Alden, no, it'd be too long. They'd have to cut it down. Sir, we don't have that many burial plots.
You'd want Ellis to do it, wouldn't you?
Ellis wouldn't care.
No. Well, if we're going for talent here, that's where I would have won first.
Here's the thing. If I was like, Mark, if I go first, could you please be in charge of my epitaph? He'd be like, yeah, if you want it. But he wouldn't want to do it. He'd do it because he's too nice. That's what I think.
Well, I'm honored to be on the list. Thank you.
But as far as what it would say, man, I don't know. Burn me, put me in a bucket. The dead can't hear you. I don't know. But for those who would be left behind, maybe it's something simple like, hey, here lies Cadden, this date to this date, April 19th, 1976 to now. Enjoy sit down and have a talk. I don't know. Or just like, he's glad you're here. I don't know. Say hi. I don't have any. I don't know. I don't think I've done anything enough to warrant anything more than, yeah, he gone.
No, that's not true. There's plenty, and the story's not done yet, Ken.
Not done.
That's what you got to focus on.
Yeah, here lies Ken. He leaves behind Squirrely, Kylo, Mump, and Worthington Mountbatten II. That's what I think.
So just to be clear, Mountbatten II, he was really Mump 1, and then Mump became Mump 2. Mump 2 became Mump, right?
Yes, Squirrely the Mumps.
Yeah.
And then Kylo started showing up. But it turns out Kylo might have actually been the first, looking back on even one of the early photos I took, because Kylo's got this scar, and it's kind of grown over. The fur's changed, but I can still see the line. And I don't know how else to say this. He's got the biggest squirrel balls I've ever seen. And Squirrely has a little patch. He's got a patch under patchy stomach. And which I worry because she itches her. I'll see her scratch it a lot. I'm like, that's probably rabies. But and then I started to learn the difference. The other two have shown up more regularly, and the one I call Mump is clearly tinier, and then the other one, Worthington, is also a boy, and that's all I'll say.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad. Thank you for that update, Ken. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. There you go. Ken Plume wrote it for me. Here lies Ken. He leaves behind, but never stopped trying to get ahead. There you go.
That's
I worked
adorable.
hard. Final call of the night. Just checking. I'm going to refresh the old news there at Ground News just to make sure no major updates.
No, we're all.
No.
Ken, I'm close enough to the Capitol. If I'm still here and my power's on and everything, we're probably good. Like from a just base.
Probably
absolute
good.
base level, like World War III nuclear hellstorm level. If I'm still here, we're probably good. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Not that I'm important. I just mean from a general radius area. I've looked this up, Ken. I've looked this up. There's like those little things, like those calculators online. We're like, if your city was hit by like a nuclear missile, would you survive or whatever? Yeah, no, we're toast. We're cooked, as the kids say, Ken.
You got to link me on that. No, during the beginning days and months of the Ukraine war. I've mentioned this before in the show, but I think I did, or maybe on Wangers, but Christian Ruvacabla and I would text each other what we felt was the best way to get out of town fast if certain nuclear bombs hit L.A. We had this is, I don't know if this is just a dumb guy thing. Like, I don't know. I had a path through the hills. I don't know what I was going to find on the other side, but I knew where I was going to go.
I'm forgetting her name, but I'm just remembering Will Smith's wife in Independence Day as you like trying to get through the tunnel with Squirrely trying to survive. Squirrely's the golden retriever.
And now it's not an issue, but at the time I asked Grace, I told Grace, here's where we're going to go. She's like, I'm sticking. We're staying here. We're just gonna go. At this point, who matters? She was like, "What do we all right? So we get there. What do we find?" I'm like, "A wasteland, but it's our wasteland." I don't know. So,
we had someone come to our office one day to give us like an emergency. I don't know, someone who our COO got like just absolutely dogged into paying a bunch of money to give us like this presentation.
Yes,
and was just like, "Oh, you guys have to have an emergency plan, and this is what you have to do if shit really hits the fan, and blah 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 blah." So they just scared the shit out of us for 45 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And so I went home and was like, babe, we have to know what we're going to do. Like, if shit hits the fan, like, what do we do? Where's our go place? Blah, blah, blah. And we had like a 10-minute conversation of like, okay, this is where we're going to go. If neither of us can call each other and we can't get home and you don't have you don't have access to any kind of transportation. And she just looked at me like, you are a crazy person. But okay, whatever you say.
But look, we'll get the calendar in a second. So after 17 years of public safety, in which I wrote emergency response plans, but I always said, and I said this to my superiors, we don't need this to be 80 pages. It needs to be 10, because that's all people are going to retain in an emergency situation. That's all you need to know. Where to go, where to meet, what to do. Like all this other stuff, legalese, whatever, I get it maybe, but it's pointless. So I end that career, and I go over to Defy Media, Screen Junkies. We had an office with Clever, Smosh, all those people there. In one building, well, actually 2 buildings, but this building, one building, 2 separate offices on a floor, giant. Like we're talking 200 people in each office. And one day, early on, an alarm rings out, and we need to evacuate the building. So I helped the office manager because I could tell no one knows what the fuck to do, and they're like, the fire department says we got to get out of here. And so I go around to office, and I won't mention the Clever hosts' names because they're sweethearts and I love them. But I went in and it was like, hey, we got to go. There's an alarm. And Steve, they looked at me and they were like, it's never anything. And I'm like, you're all going to die. You're all going to die. And we are. And finally, everyone comes outside and we're on the sidewalk on Robertson and Wilshire Boulevard. And we're all outside. And I'm just like, I left this world. You are not listening to me. It's a false alarm today, but the other day it's not going to be. So that's when you know what, Steve? I'm just going to head in the mountains on my own. I got my path out of here. I'm gonna go. You all stay.
Okay. I believe you, but at the same time, I'm still a little worried, Ken, because one of my early calls was also, hey, Ken, what are the top 5 things you would take if you need to survive on an island all by yourself? And you totally forgot trying something that would help you make fire.
I know. Well, I'm just trying to get us to safety.
Little baby steps. One thing at a time. That's fair.
One thing at a time.
It's a high pressure situation.
I run again. We all run to Laser Bolt. All right. Final call of the night. He might even have pictures. It's Kingsport, Tennessee's own Kingsport Cal. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Yeah. How you doing?
I'm okay, Cal. And that's all I need to be. How about you?
Well, I have to address something that happened on your show. I think it was Saturday.
Okay.
You was talking about Johnson City.
Mm-hmm.
And you was talking about the fashion of Johnson City.
Yeah. Horrible fashion, yeah.
Horrible fashion. Well, yes, there are those stores there, Ken. We have the same stores.
Yeah, you do.
Have in LA, in that fiery part of the world. But but the youth, you probably wasn't seeing the youth. The youth go to those stores, especially. I think the time frame was 2006ish, something like that.
8, 9 range. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Between that time, I mean, the youth were probably, I don't know, were probably wearing the things that you expect to see in LA. What I'm saying is, most of the people in Johnson City, Tri-Cities area are just, they don't have that outside influences like that. They don't see that stuff on the daily. They don't care. They used to what their parents wore. You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying. And you might be, look, we were staying with what was my girlfriend's roommates at the time, the people she moved into, were very stylish, punk rockers, kind of goth. I don't think you're wrong there, Cal, and I think you're right to correct me on that. But I think you're also not, I'm going to say you're proving my point in a confrontational way, but that's exactly kind of my thought was, you all have TVs. I'd go to the Carmike and see movies there. You all watch Hollywood stuff. You have Structure and Express and all the same stores. You choose to go get your outfits at Dick's Sporting Goods. And that's what I couldn't get, Cal. And I think it's what you're saying is it was passed down and it was just what was around them. The cycle couldn't be broken.
A lot of that stuff is farm country. Let's say people go and get their clothing from Tractor Supply. You see what I'm saying? Flannel shirts, big belt buckles, boot cut jeans because they work on farms. That's a totally different, yes, that's a totally different vibe from LA. You know what I'm saying? Where it's sunny all the time. We have seasons here, Ken. Not only that, but we have people that dress for their work. Not everybody wears polos and t-shirts and you know what I'm saying? Because they work they work to suit what they need to work for, if that makes any sense. And that spills out into their fashion on the street. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
It spills out into it.
But
it doesn't mean.
This is what I keep yelling at Jerry the Cannon Junkie. What you're wearing at work is not what you wear to the party. And I think that's what you're describing is I think you need that farm gear because you're on a goddamn farm. I wouldn't expect you to be anything else. When you go home, don't put on fancier farm gear. Put on something else that you got at structure.
Well, here's one thing. I get that. I understand that. But one of the things is a lot of people, their work, especially around here, or if you go to mining towns or anything like that, people's work are their identity. You see what I'm saying? So you having your work clothes and then your fancy stepping out work clothes shows the world that you are a farmer, you are a machinist, you are this whatever. But you can.
These are great points, Cal. You're making some great points, Steve. Would you agree that Cal's making some smart points?
Cal always makes mostly makes smart points.
Sometimes I get some gems in there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. And also,
but hold on, Cal. But
okay, I'm sorry.
But still, at the end of the day, if you show up to a party in that, I'm gonna say you look bad.
Well, that's fine. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's another thing too about East Tennessee, about Tennessee in general, is that we don't really care about anybody else's opinion because that's the way we roll.
I could tell. I could tell.
And I also want to say that Addie, I was surprised that Addie did not defend anything. She just said, it's Johnson City, Tennessee. Shame on you, Addie. Shame on you. I love you, but Jesus Christ, you lived there. You're not from there, but you lived there. You could at least defend it a little bit.
Maybe that's why. She got tired of going to Zaxby's. There you go. There you go. I agree with you, Cal. And Cinder said, look, we don't have time to go home after work. We work so hard and so long. I think you just budget 5 minutes. That's what I'm saying. 5 minutes to go home and change. All right, Cal, what is this picture? How do we get pictures up again? How did I do that? All right. You ready? What is this picture?
This picture, I did not take this picture. This was a rally, a Black Lives rally that I attended in 2003.
Okay.
And later on, after the rally was over, and like you, Ken, I was afraid there for a little while. I kind of stood back. I was like, but I crossed some streets. I walked down and seen everything. And then I remember walking past a group that I got just totally yelled at, and I was just dressed in regular clothes, my country clothes, and I was walking around and they just yelled at me for no reason. I was just walking to be part of the scene, part of the fire. Yeah. I wasn't holding signs, I wasn't doing anything. I was getting yelled at, telling them to go home and everything. But in the mist, when I got home in the mist later, a couple days later, this photo from that same rally came up on my local newspaper.
All right, let me bring this up here. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, that was a picture. That was just I think he was part of the New Panthers. He's covering it, kind of. He's covering his heart, being like, "Yeah, I feel you."
Like okay.
So it's got MPI on it. What?
Yeah. So for those on the audio version, I'm sorry. There's a crowd of white people, a lot of them dressed in clothes they get at feed stores. And then there's a guy in tactical gear, but he's one of the New Panthers. What is happening? But he's shaking hands with this white woman and expressing gratitude. What is happening, Cal?
Well, I assume that they're just, she's like, I feel you, whatever.
Okay.
We're not here to whatever. They got the Confederate flags in the back. If you notice, the silver-haired woman is looking at her like, how dare you shake hands with this man?
Okay.
You see it? You see it?
Yeah, and I do see the bars and stars in the back. There's a lot going on in this photo, Cal. But that's not anyone you know in that photo there?
No. I don't know anyone. But that's what I'm trying to tell you is that that's Tennessee. That one person is like, she's on the opposite side right there.
I love Tennessee.
But she's like, hey, look, I'm not like these other assholes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Even though that woman's giving her the side eye.
There's some side eye.
There's two women giving her the side eye. If you technically count that other one as a woman. But anyway,
careful.
Yeah.
They're both saying you're picking up the tab at Cheddar's next time, or you're no longer allowed in this Waffle House. Is what they're saying to that woman.
But even though she's on the opposite side, she's bad. She's still reaching out, and I thought that was poignant. I think that's that means something. But anyway, that's why I posted that picture, because you was talking about that Monday.
Thank you, Cal. I appreciate everything.
This
everything
morning
you're
I
doing.
get.
Okay, yeah.
But
okay.
Also,
all right, you got 1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me pick something here.
Okay.
I did want to tell you. I listened to your set. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like
thank
that.
you. Thank
the
you.
Abraham Lincoln joke didn't hit for me, but I get it. I can see how it could work for other people. It didn't really hit that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
But I do have a question about tank tops. Now, Steve brought this up. This was a future question I was going to ask you about tank tops. Now, I do recall. I know you remember the shorts. You did a couple of them, I think, with Mark Ellis, the dad shorts, where you actually had a tank top on in those shorts. You remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, absolutely. Because we shot them. The first time it was ever shot, I was sitting there like that with my shirt off. We were getting ready to go to a party, and I took my shirt off because it was hot. And I didn't want to get Subway sandwich on my dress shirt for the party we were going to. And then Harloff started to film, and that's how it all. So then it just became an outfit I needed to wear.
But other than that, though, my thoughts. I just need your thoughts on tank tops in general. Like if I'm going to a convenience store, get some gas, get a pack of cigarettes, what have you. Could I wear?
I'll tell you this: less egregious than the polo shirt, because the polo shirt is a faux form of airs or class. But the tank top, I know what I'm getting. I know what you're trying to accomplish. And I'm not saying good or bad. Whatever's underneath the tank top, big guns or not, I don't care. You're advertising a truth that a polo shirt, I think, is lying about.
Well, that's a distinct difference in tank tops for me, because I'm a very skinny man.
Okay,
and,
you wear A shirts. Do you wear the A shirts?
No, I don't know what that means, but what I'm going to describe to you is a tank top. It's a shorter tank top. It doesn't go down as far. The tank top.
Does it show your midriff? Does it show your midriff, Cal? Like, are you?
No.
Are you in the Sugar Hill Gang?
Jesus Christ! I just had a picture. You just made a picture float to my mind. Anyway, no, the tank tops I'm talking about are tank. Well, I know you got your classic tank top. I don't like those because I'm a skinny dude. I like to get the ones that come up to about your sternum, almost to your collar. Not a little bit, about a little bit lower than your collar. Is that the type you're talking about?
Yeah, you look like you're in a rap video from 1981. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Those are the types I'll wear because I'm skinny. I can't wear the lower cut tank tops because they just hang off me like I'm a coat hanger.
A Detective McCarcel tank top. Yeah, okay, I get you. Yeah, okay.
But if I wear those, then I'm golden. I'm good. I'm good.
You're Cal. You're always golden. Don't worry, Cal.
It looks better when it's tighter. You know what I mean?
That is truth. That is truth. Sometimes when things are tighter, even though you might not feel like it, we all get self-conscious. Baggy can be worse. And I'm not talking about baggier styles of clothes versus. I'm just talking in general. In general, you want to air tighter than baggy.
Yeah. You want it closer to it shows off a little bit more.
Well, it's not even the tighter answers the questions that the looser leaves hanging.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing too. I had a conversation with a person that was talking about about swimming.
Okay.
About swimming.
Don't swim.
You self-conscious about swimming?
No, I'll go in the ocean. I'll go in the ocean in like a full 3-piece suit. No one gets to see me like that. No, absolutely not.
I don't think you should do that. When you go to swim, everybody knows it's hot. You're going to be getting in the water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows you're going to be exposed. Everybody should be okay with that. In my worldview, you should be okay with going to swim.
Cal, you got 1 minute. Anyone who is body positive with themselves I look up to. I am not. So I don't want to put that on the world. So I don't need to swim today. You all have fun. That's what I do.
All right, Ken.
All
well,
right. Okay. All right.
All right.
All right.
I'll save the rest for later, but for another time. But I got more stuff I need to cover with you.
Yes, you do. All right, Cal, get the hell out of here. Go to Cheddar's. Why don't you? I'll tell you what. The next photo you need to bring to this goddamn show is a meal at Cheddar's with some of that rice and beans I love so much.
You know, I haven't been to Cheddar's in a very long time.
Correct it.
But correct it. Cheddar's was never great. I used to hang out in Cheddar's. Y'all talk about midlife crisis. I used to hang out in Cheddar's.
You got 1 minute.
I used to hang out in Cheddar's. Wait a minute. I used to hang out in Cheddar's in my mid-20s and get fucking hammered, son. It was fun. Cheddar's. Wait a minute. Cheddar's, Old Charlie's, Applebee's. That was a little trifecta. Anyway.
I used to hang out in Cheddar's and get hammered, son. Needs to be on your epitaph. That is what is on your gravestone.
Let me tell you really quick, kid. Cheddar's was where all the rich chicks went.
That's where we're going to go, Cal.
That's where the rich chicks went to hang out at the bar at Cheddar's. So we went to Cheddar's to get the high class girls. And we go to Applebee's to hang out with them.
The high class girls. Okay. All right. You needed about 3 quarter-life crises. All right. Kingsport Cal, I love you. Thank you. Please bring a picture. All right. All right, cut him off. Doesn't need to talk to you. All right, we're out of here, Steve. Did we accomplish anything tonight?
I don't think so.
We had some good talks. I think we talked about some good things.
No, you're right. No, we had some. The first half was very good. It's the second half where things went off the rails, but that's what happens. So.
I got hammered at Cheddar's, son. Boom. That's what you put on the epitaph right there. We need Blathering playoff music. I have it. There it is. It's all part of the fun. Wear what you want. Wear what you want, Steve. Eat a wedge salad in a tank top. It's all good.
If you say so.
Teach their own. All right. Thanks to my guest, Kate Huseby. Watch their movie soon. We'll tell you where. And go follow and support. We'll see y'all soon. We'll be back Thursday. I'll be out of town, but I'll be back. We'll do it. Bye.